Unlocking Your Divine Inheritance, a journey to reclaiming your true worth. Welcome, everyone, to this transformative journey we're about to embark on together.
Today, we're diving deep into the realms of self-worth, purpose, and the incredible power that lies dormant within each of us. But before we begin, I want to acknowledge the remarkable individual whose insights and wisdom form the foundation of our discussion today. We have the privilege of drawing from the profound teachings of Charese Howard, a true beacon of light in a world often shrouded in darkness. Charese is not just a survivor, she's a thriver who has turned her pain into purpose, her struggles into strength, and her experiences into a powerful message of hope and transformation. Her work has touched countless lives, helping people break free from the chains of their past and step into the fullness of their divine potential. Charese's impact extends far beyond individual transformation. She's catalyzing a movement that's reshaping how we understand our worth, our purpose, and our place in this world. So, as we dive into these life-altering concepts, remember that they come from a place of hard-won wisdom, deep compassion, and an unwavering belief in the inherent value of every human being. Let's open our minds and hearts to receive these truths that have the power to revolutionize our lives. Now, let me ask you a question that might make you squirm a little in your seat. What if everything you've believed about yourself up until this moment is a lie? What if the story you've been telling yourself about who you are, what you're capable of, and what you deserve is nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion? I know, you're probably thinking, great, another self-help talk telling me I'm amazing and I just need to believe in myself. But stick with me here because what we're about to explore goes far deeper than feel-good platitudes or positive affirmations. We're going to challenge some of the most fundamental beliefs you hold about yourself. We're going to shake the very foundations of your self-perception. And fair warning, it might get uncomfortable. But as the saying goes, the truth will set you free, even if it pisses you off first. Let's start with the story. Imagine a young prince, heir to a vast and prosperous kingdom. But this prince doesn't know his true identity. He was stolen as a baby and raised by peasants who, out of fear and ignorance, never told him of his royal heritage. So this prince, this rightful heir to unimaginable wealth and power, grows up believing he's nothing more than a poor farmer's son. He lives his life within the confines of that belief. He never ventures beyond his small village. He never challenges the status quo. He never even dreams of the life that is rightfully his, all because he doesn't know who he truly is. Now, here's the kicker. That prince is you, and me, and every single person listening to this talk right now. You see, according to Charese Howard, we are all spiritual royalty. We all have a divine inheritance that is beyond our wildest imagination. But like that prince, most of us are living far below our potential because we've accepted false narratives about our worth and capabilities. These narratives often stem from traumatic experiences, particularly in childhood. Maybe you were told you weren't smart enough, pretty enough, or good enough. Maybe you experienced abuse or neglect that left you feeling worthless and unlovable. Or maybe you've just internalized society's messages about what gives a person value, money, status, appearance, and found yourself coming up short. Whatever the source, these narratives have become the lens through which you view yourself and the world. They become your truth. But here's the real truth. They're lies. All of them. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are not limited by your past failures or shortcomings. You are not bound by other people's expectations or society's standards. You are, in the words of Charese Howard, a child of the divine, heir to a spiritual kingdom of unlimited potential and worth. Now, I can almost hear the skeptics among you rolling your eyes. That's all well and good, you might be thinking, but you don't know my life. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know my struggles. And you're right, I don't. But here's what I do know. Your experiences, no matter how painful or challenging, do not diminish your intrinsic worth. They do not negate your divine inheritance. In fact, Charez would argue that those very experiences, the ones you think disqualify you from greatness, are actually part of your unique gift to the world. Let me share a powerful example from Charese's own life. As a survivor of childhood trauma, Charese could have easily succumbed to a life defined by her past. She could have accepted the narrative that she was damaged goods, unworthy of love and success. And for a time, she did. But then something shifted. Charisse began to understand her true worth as a child of God. She started to see her painful experiences not as disqualifications, but as qualifications, unique insights and strengths that equipped her to help others who were struggling. And this realization didn't just change Charisse's life, it transformed it. She went from struggling and surviving to thriving and inspiring. She built a successful career, cultivated healthy relationships, and most importantly, found a deep sense of purpose in helping others reclaim their worth. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. That's great for Charisse, but my situation is different. My problems are too big. My past is too dark. My challenges are too overwhelming. But that's exactly the point. Your challenges, your struggles, your pain, they're not obstacles to your purpose. They're part of your purpose. They're the unique experiences that shape your perspective, fuel your passion, and equip you to make a unique impact in the world. Think about it. Who better to help someone overcome addiction than someone who's walked that path themselves? Who better to advocate for abuse survivors than someone who's experienced and triumphed over abuse? Who better to inspire others to pursue their dreams than someone who's had to overcome significant obstacles to achieve their own? Your pain, when transformed by understanding your true worth, becomes your power. Your struggles, when viewed through the lens of your divine inheritance, become your strength. Your challenges, when approached with the knowledge of your intrinsic value, become catalysts for growth and vehicles for your purpose. But here's the catch. This transformation doesn't happen automatically. It requires a fundamental shift in how you see yourself and your place in the world. It requires you to challenge and change the narratives you've accepted about who you are and what you're capable of. Therese calls this process higher thinking. It's about elevating your thoughts to align with the truth of your divine worth and potential. It's about consciously choosing to reject the lies you've believed about yourself and embracing a higher truth. Now, I know this isn't easy. These limiting beliefs and negative narratives have likely been with you for years, maybe even decades. They become so familiar, so ingrained that they feel like truth. Challenging them can feel uncomfortable, even scary. But remember our prince from earlier. Imagine if someone came to him and told him the truth about his royal heritage. Do you think he'd immediately throw off his peasant clothes and claim his throne? Probably not. He'd likely resist. He might even get angry. After all, accepting this new truth would mean letting go of everything he thought he knew about himself and his place in the world. That's exactly what this process of higher thinking feels like. It's uncomfortable, it's challenging, it requires us to question our most basic assumptions about ourselves and the world, but it's also incredibly liberating. Because here's the thing, once you start to see yourself through the lens of your true worth and divine inheritance, everything changes. The limitations you thought were fixed suddenly become flexible. The dreams you thought were impossible start to feel within reach. The purpose you've been searching for begins to unfold before you. Now, let me give you a concrete example of how this shift in thinking can manifest in real life. Charisse shares a story about a time when she was struggling financially. She was barely making ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. But instead of accepting that as her reality, she chose to act in alignment with her belief in God's provision and her own worth. She started tithing, giving away 10% of her income, even when it didn't make logical sense to do so. Now, I can almost hear some of you gasping, give money away when you're already struggling? That's insane. And from a purely logical standpoint, you'd be right. But here's what happened. As Charisse acted in faith, aligning her actions with her belief in her divine inheritance, doors began to open. Opportunities arose that she couldn't have foreseen. Her financial situation began to improve. Was it magic? No. Was it a direct cause and effect relationship? Not necessarily. But by acting in alignment with her beliefs about her worth and God's provision, Charissa opened herself up to possibilities she might have otherwise missed. This isn't about magical thinking or assuming that if you just believe hard enough, all your problems will disappear.
It's about aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the truth of your worth and potential. It's about living as if the truth of your divine inheritance is already your reality. Now, let's talk about what this looks like in practice. How do we actually go about changing these deeply ingrained thought patterns and beliefs? Charese offers a powerful technique that I want to share with you. Whenever a negative thought arises, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, I don't deserve love. Pause and ask yourself this question: who told me that? Often you'll find that these limiting beliefs aren't actually your own. They're voices from your past, perhaps a critical parent, an abusive partner, or a society that told you you weren't enough. Once you identify the source of these beliefs, you can begin to challenge them. Ask yourself, is this belief serving me? Is it aligned with the truth of my worth and potential? Or is it keeping me trapped in cycles of fear, shame, and limitation? Then consciously choose to replace that limiting belief with a truth that aligns with your intrinsic worth and divine inheritance. For example, instead of I'm not good enough, choose to believe I am inherently worthy, regardless of my achievements or failures. Instead of I'll never succeed, choose to believe I have unique gifts and talents that the world needs. Instead of I don't deserve love, choose to believe I am worthy of love and belonging exactly as I am. Now, I know this might sound simplistic. You might be thinking it can't be that easy. You can't just choose to believe something and make it true. And you're right, it's not that simple. Changing deeply ingrained thought patterns is a process. It takes time, effort, and consistent practice. But here's the thing: every time you challenge a limiting belief, every time you choose to embrace a higher truth about yourself, you're rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways that over time become your default way of thinking. This process of challenging and changing our thought patterns is crucial because our thoughts shape our reality. As Charez often says, what you think, you become. If we continue to think of ourselves as victims, as unworthy, as incapable, that's exactly what we'll be. But if we can shift our thinking to align with our true worth and potential, we open ourselves up to a whole new world of possibilities. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about denying or minimizing past trauma or current struggles. It's not about plastering a smile on your face and pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about acknowledging where you are, but refusing to let that define where you're going. I'd say Sharace's approach is all about empowerment. It's about recognizing that while we can't always control what happens to us, we always have control over how we respond. We have the power to choose our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately our destiny. This message of empowerment is particularly crucial for survivors of abuse or anyone who's experienced trauma. So often, these experiences rob us of our sense of agency, our belief in our ability to shape our own lives. Charese's teachings offer a pathway to reclaiming that power. But here's the thing: this journey of transformation isn't always easy or comfortable. In fact, Charese is quick to point out that it often involves facing our fears, confronting painful truths, and stepping out of our comfort zones. She shares a powerful analogy about this process. Imagine you're in a dark room. You've been there so long that your eyes have adjusted to the darkness. You can navigate this space. It's familiar. It might not be pleasant, but at least you know what to expect. Now imagine someone comes and turns on the light. Initially, it's painful. The brightness hurts your eyes. You might even want to retreat back into the darkness because it's what you know. But as your eyes adjust, you start to see things you couldn't see before. You realize the room is much bigger than you thought. There are doors and windows you never knew existed. This is what the process of transformation can feel like. When we start to challenge our limiting beliefs, when we begin to step into our true worth and potential, it can be uncomfortable. We might face resistance from others, but also from within ourselves. Our old patterns and beliefs might fight to keep us in the familiar darkness. But Charez encourages us to push through this discomfort because on the other side of it is freedom, purpose, and a life beyond what we ever thought possible. Now, let's talk about the concept of inheritance that Charez introduces. This isn't about material wealth or earthly possessions. It's about the spiritual gifts, talents, and purpose that are your birthright as a child of the divine. Imagine for a moment that you're the child of a billionaire. You wouldn't spend your life scraping by, worried about how you're going to make ends meet, right? You'd live with the confidence and assurance that comes from knowing you have access to vast resources. Well, Charese argues that this is exactly the position we're in spiritually. We are heirs to a spiritual inheritance that is far more valuable than any material wealth. This inheritance includes our unique gifts, our purpose, and the divine support available to us. The problem is, many of us are living like paupers when we're actually princes and princesses. We're struggling and striving, unaware of the vast resources at our disposal. We're letting our past experiences or current circumstances define us rather than stepping into the fullness of who we were created to be. Claiming this inheritance is about recognizing and embracing your God given potential. It's about understanding that you have unique gifts and talents that the world desperately needs. It's about realizing that you have a specific purpose, a reason for being here that only you can fulfill. But here's the crucial part: claiming your inheritance isn't just about believing in it, it's about acting on it. Charese emphasizes the importance of what she calls faith in motion. Faith, in this context, isn't just about believing in a higher power. It's about believing in the truth of who you are and what you're capable of, even when your current circumstances don't reflect that truth. But faith alone isn't enough. That's where motion comes in. It's about taking action, making choices and decisions that align with your true worth and potential. This might mean setting boundaries in relationships that don't honor your worth. It might mean pursuing that dream you've always had but never thought you deserved. It might mean forgiving yourself for past mistakes and choosing to move forward. Now, I want to address something important here. For many people, especially survivors of abuse or trauma, the idea of having intrinsic worth or a divine inheritance can feel foreign, even painful. When you've experienced deep hurt or betrayal, particularly at a young age, it can shape your entire worldview. It can make you feel unworthy, unloved, or even cursed. Charese doesn't shy away from this reality. In fact, she confronts it head on. She acknowledges that for many, the journey to understanding their worth and claiming their inheritance is a process of healing and reprogramming their minds. This is where the real work begins. It's not enough to intellectually understand these concepts. We need to internalize them to let them seep into the very core of our being. We need to challenge the lies we've believed about ourselves and replace them with higher truths. And here's where it gets really exciting. As you begin to understand your true worth and step into your divine inheritance, you become a catalyst for change in the world around you. See, when you start living from a place of inherent worth and purpose, it changes how you interact with others. You begin to see the divine potential in everyone you meet. You become a mirror, reflecting back to others their own intrinsic value and capabilities. Imagine a world where everyone understood their true worth, where people operated not from a place of fear, scarcity, and competition, but from a place of confidence, abundance, and collaboration. That's the kind of transformation Charese's teachings can spark, not just in individuals, but in communities and societies. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how does it work in the real world? How does understanding my worth and claiming my inheritance actually change my life? Let me share another powerful example from Charese's life. There was a time when she was in an abusive relationship. She stayed in that relationship far longer than she should have because she didn't believe she deserved better. She didn't understand her true worth. But as she began to grasp the truth of her divine inheritance, she found the strength to leave that relationship. More than that, she found the courage to pursue her dreams, to start her own business, to become a voice for others who were struggling. This isn't just about improving your circumstances, it's about completely transforming your life from the inside out. It's about stepping into a level of freedom, purpose, and fulfillment that you might have never thought possible. But here's the thing: this transformation doesn't happen overnight, it's a journey. There will be setbacks, there will be moments of doubt, there will be times when it's tempting to fall back into old patterns of thinking and behaving. That's why Charese emphasizes the importance of community, surrounding yourself with people who see your worth, who believe in your potential, who can remind you of your divine inheritance when you forget. This could be friends, family, a support group, or a spiritual community. The key is to have people in your life who can speak truth to you, who can challenge your limiting beliefs, and who can celebrate your growth and successes. As we begin to wrap up, I want to circle back to where we started. Remember that question I asked at the beginning? What if everything you've believed about yourself up until this point has been a lie? What if you're actually far more valuable, far more capable, and far more loved than you've ever allowed yourself to believe? Charese Howard's message challenges us to live in the light of this truth, to understand our intrinsic worth, to claim our spiritual inheritance, to align our thoughts and actions with our true potential. It's a message of hope, of empowerment, and of transformation. But it's also a call to action because understanding these truths isn't enough. We need to live them out. We need to make choices every day that align with our worth and potential. We need to challenge our limiting beliefs and replace them with higher truths. We need to step out in faith and put our beliefs into motion. So here's my challenge to you. Don't let this be just another talk you listen to and then forget. Don't file these ideas away as interesting concepts that don't apply to your real life. Instead, I want you to commit to taking one concrete step towards claiming your divine inheritance. Maybe it's starting each day by looking in the mirror and affirming your intrinsic worth. Maybe it's finally pursuing that dream you've been putting off because you didn't think you were good enough. Maybe it's setting a boundary in a relationship that's been diminishing your sense of worth. Or maybe it's simply pausing throughout the day to question your negative self-talk and replace it with higher truths. Whatever it is, choose one action and commit to it. Because here's the truth. You are worthy. You are valuable. You have a unique purpose and an incredible inheritance waiting to be claimed. The question is, will you choose to believe it? And more importantly, will you choose to live it? Your journey of transformation starts now. It starts with a choice to see yourself as you truly are, to step into the fullness of your divine inheritance, and to live a life that reflects your true worth and potential. Remember, this isn't just about you. As you embrace your worth and live out your purpose, you become a light in this world. You inspire others to do the same. You contribute to creating a world where everyone understands their intrinsic value and lives from that place of worth and purpose. So I leave you with this final thought. You are far more powerful than you realize. Your worth is immeasurable. Your potential is limitless. And the world is waiting for the unique gift that only you can give. It's time to step into the light. It's time to claim your inheritance. It's time to become who you were always meant to be. The choice is yours. What will you do with this moment? How will you begin to live out the truth of your divine worth and inheritance? The world is waiting. Your destiny is calling. It's time to answer. Thank you.